January 29, 1951 marks a very important event in American history, the first divorce of Elizabeth Taylor. When Elizabeth was just 18, she married handsome, young, rich Nicky Hilton. They were on top of the world, had it all. But unfortunately, Nicky also had a temper, and Elizabeth divorced him after just 1 year of marriage. At age 19, she married again, handsome movie star Michael Wilding. They had 2 sons and 2 movie careers, but it didn't work so well to make one marriage. When Elizabeth met dashing movie producer Mike Todd, she married Mike, and together they had a daughter. Again on top of the world, and Mike flew to New York to accept an award for Showman of the Year when his plane crashed, and he left Elizabeth with 3 children as a widow. Elizabeth turned for comfort to her good friends, Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher, but unfortunately, the comfort turned to adultery, and Elizabeth and Eddie started a full-blown affair. Eddie divorced Debbie, and the same day his divorce was final, married Elizabeth. But unfortunately, that one didn't work either, and while filming the movie Cleopatra, Elizabeth fell in love with dashing, handsome Richard Burton. Richard divorced his wife, and Elizabeth left Eddie, and they were married and began a tumultuous relationship. Between the pressures of Hollywood and drug and alcohol addictions, the marriage just didn't last. They divorced. They tried again about a year later and remarried, but again within a year they were divorced. After this, Elizabeth tried husband number 7, former U.S. Secretary of the Navy John Warner. She worked with him on a campaign for Senate, and again looked like things were on top of the world for Elizabeth. But that didn't last either. And in the Betty Ford Clinic, struggling with drug addictions, she met a construction worker named Larry Fortinsky. They fell in love and married at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch, but that only lasted 5 years, and Elizabeth divorced again. Elizabeth's story reminds me a little bit of a lady in the Bible. We don't know her name, but we know where she was from, the land of Samaria. And we know that she had been married 5 times. But unlike Elizabeth Taylor, this woman didn't initiate any of her divorces. It was against the law in her day for a woman to divorce a man. And so we know that either this woman, although she had 5 trips down to the altar, 5 times she was either rejected or widowed. What we do know for sure, even though we don't know the details of those 5 marriages, is that this was a broken-hearted woman who kept looking for satisfaction in her life from a man. Until one day she met another man, a different kind of man. His name was Jesus. And he said to her, "Honey, there's a satisfaction that you can have that comes directly from within you. It's not dependent on a man. It's not dependent on a place. It's something that can be within you." And the woman said to him, "Give it to me. I'd love to have that." And he said to her, "I am the source of that satisfaction, the Messiah. And the Holy Spirit that lives within you will be like a river of living water, that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that source of everything you need will be accessible to you from within, the relationship with me." Now on this January 29th, I have no idea what's going on in your life. Maybe you're like Liz was in 1951, ready for a change. Maybe you've been looking for a man. Maybe you've been looking for a woman. Maybe you've been searching the internet, trying to find just the right job, just the right place that you could move, just the right thing you could have to finally feel like you're satisfied. But I'll tell you, just for like Elizabeth Taylor and just like that woman in John chapter 4, there is no satisfaction outside of a relationship with Jesus Christ. So if you have that today, then honey, you have everything you need. And if you don't have that today, why not? You can ask Jesus to give you the fullness of what he has. Yeah, he'll have to deal with the sin problem, but he's done that on the cross. And when we bring that into line with where we are, and bring ourselves into line with that, we can find true satisfaction no matter what we have or what we don't have. So you have a great day this January 29th, and look to Jesus for your satisfaction. He's everything you need.